We had a problem. We wanted to increase the production value of our live streams at the performance horse events that we stream all over the United States without the increased cost of extra help, camera people, hotels, cables, running power cords, and all the headaches that come with adding additional cameras. That's when a colleague of mine introduced me to the BirdDog P200. He showed me that with one Cat5 cable connected over NDI over the network, he could control, receive video, and power that camera, all with one cable. Since then, we have now added 3 BirdDog P200s, the new PH120, as well as 2 BirdDog Studios, bringing them all over the NDI network with one input into our vMix production. This has been huge to help keep cables and help to a minimum, help keep our costs down and increase the production value for our client, which was our ultimate goal. As we travel from show to show, sometimes we only have a couple of hours to get set up. So having the ability to set each camera up with just one cable and not have to source out power outlets, power cords and everything else that goes along with it, it helped keep our setup time to a minimum while still allowing us to add more cameras for the production. The quality of the camera and the footage is incredible, and being able to control all these over the NDI network with one input makes it a no-brainer for us to use the BirdDog products. With the ability to place these cameras virtually anywhere, it allows us to bring in more camera angles and give us more freedom to place those cameras where we need them the most, whether it's an interview on the side of the arena or the action from up above or down below. We can capture any angle with minimum cables. When one of my dogs chewed through a cable, I emailed BirdDog to see if I could get a replacement cable. Within minutes, they emailed me back and said that they were sending a new replacement cable to the location we were at. It did not affect our production one bit. Thank you, BirdDog. At Performance Horse Central, we're always looking for new ways, better ways to increase our production. BirdDog has helped us do that and bring that quality to our clients. BirdDog, thank you very much. We couldn't do it without you.
Well, what's going on, everybody? Let's see if I can get this to work. All right, I'm hearing audio out of the YouTube feed, so that's good news. Yeah, different format. We're going to change it up here a little bit. And so let's see how this goes. None of this is running through Wirecast anymore. And it's a little bit strange because I can't hear myself talk, and I'm so used to hearing my own audio through my headset. But this format, well, lots of things to talk about, I guess, today. But this format is through a service called StreamYard, which a lot of like interview guys, I guess, use. So Senseless says that the audio is coming through just fine. What's going on, Senseless? But I have the ability to do a few extra things like show comments on screen, which I'm really excited about. So yeah, cool stuff there. And hopefully, hopefully this will bring a little different format. Also no music, because I was trying to figure out how to do that. And I didn't have long enough to figure that out. So if the audio is coming through fine, that's good news. Please let me know if it is or isn't. I guess I could listen to the show in another headset. But so far so good. I like this. Now, to a handful of you, I've sent private invites on Teams. And so jump on Teams, grab that link. The format is that I wanted to bring other BirdDog guys onto this show, or gals. And yes, it is Thursday already. I wanted to bring other guys onto the show and just have a chance to sit around and chat. And so that is what I plan to do here. If you comment on, right now we're running on YouTube and Twitch, and I believe LinkedIn, but YouTube and Twitch are the ones that will accept your chats and that we can see and show on screen. So if you have NDI questions or anything like that, feel free to shoot us a message in the chat and go from there. I also have the ability to share a screen. I'm really curious, first of all, about how this is all going to work and performance and all that, because with Wirecast, the CPU is basically maxed out on this machine, you know? And so, and I can throw my little branding up here. Let's see. Let's put this guy up. A lot less going on screen though. Hey, so I was just joking with Balu that I am literally using Wirecast to run a countdown, and I could probably do that more efficiently a different way. So we'll figure out what to do there. But I definitely ran a full screen output in Wirecast to show the countdown and to show the start screen. But the videos and all that other stuff is running out of StreamYard. So yeah, we shall see how this goes. And if the audio is coming through, then then we're good to go. All right, so Balu's here. So Brayton has been out this week because he's been sick, and so if you haven't heard from Brayton, he is sick. We're really sorry about that. Give us a chance, and we can sort this out. Shoot me a message at the help desk, help@bird-dog.tv or help@birddog.tv, either, and we'll be able to get to the bottom of what's going on. But yes, he is. Oh, there's Brayton right there. He's bummed that he has to miss Liz. Thanks for jumping on the show, though. I really appreciate that, man. Thanks for joining along with this journey. So the news, though, is that today is the last ramen day, and we are doing curry today, which is definitely smelling like curry in this office, and no one else is in the office. I have Senseless is at home in his studio for the morning, and so it's just Balu and I, and it is so Balu's having a whole pack apparently because there's no one to share it with. So he may have to dial down his spice, but we're in the 3,000 Scoville level apparently. So yeah, that's today. We're going to be doing that, and a little bit it's, man, no background music is so weird. Maybe I should just turn the music on for me. And then I feel like it's not just a total empty background sound. Okay, so yeah, lots of cool things going on here today with the StreamYard stuff that we're using. I think this picture looks really nice in StreamYard. So what is going on, Jeremy? It is good to see you, man. Welcome back. Thanks for coming to the show again. Really appreciate that. We've changed up I should have you on now that you're working with Resi. And I could totally invite you to the show and bring you on. So it's good to see you, man. Thanks for jumping on. I feel like my life choices that have led to this point. So Balu and Brayton and Senseless have all partaken in this ridiculous ramen challenge. And it's just fun to say that we did it, but yeah, our life choices are catching up with us here. You know what? I'm going to put this over here because this is where Wirecast typically is. And that way this looks a little more familiar to everybody. So the cool thing with StreamYard is I can totally still share screens, can show stuff on, and it's mostly done for us. But what I really like is that we can, bring in comments and whatever. Yes, I agree, Jeremy. That would be awesome. And show them on screen, a little more interactive. And I can also, shoot invites to folks. And so looking forward to doing some more of that, and it not just being me talking ad nauseum for a long time. So good times there. The other piece is I really want this to be more, have the ability to you guys to ask any questions. I'm not on the sales team and side of things, but I want to have sales guys on here. And so when they are, anything is good to go. What's going on, Michael? Good to see you, man. What's new? Well, today we are using StreamYard instead of Wirecast. And I keep meaning to say something about that, and I will in a second. Yeah, we're trying a little different platform here, see how this works. So I really like it so far. It's simpler, and I can upload my bumper videos and stuff directly to StreamYard. and it handles everything else. And so the video that we ran for the horse show prior to this launch was all done out of this platform. So you can upload sounds to StreamYards, maybe something to look at and try. I couldn't find where to upload sounds. I see that there's like there's a spot here for music, like background music, but there's not a place for me to upload it. There's just a place for me to play theirs. And so I don't know about that. But anyway, if I need to do like quick little clips or whatever, like I have Flex in here, Color Matrix, which I'll run at the end of the show. Those are all there. But I'm really happy that it appears that you guys can hear me well enough. And it's coming through. I'm watching it here. I am on YouTube kind of as a confidence monitor. I'm not listening to it there, but I could if I needed to. But yeah, thanks for coming along, everybody. I really appreciate you jumping on and getting the chat going. The thing about Wirecast is it's very CPU hungry, it appears. And so, yep, it's smooth. Awesome. That is always good. Thanks for the support. The thing about Wirecast is I find it's extremely CPU hungry. And if your computer is not super beefy, then it maxes it out pretty much. And I'm doing a bunch of other things too, right? So I hate to just run it at 100% because you never know what's going to happen if you max out your CPU. So I have to balance things there. However, once I figured out how to lay out Wirecast, I quite liked it, unlike Michael, who wasn't a huge fan of Wirecast apparently. But yeah, it worked for me. It worked for my my setup. Again, I feel like I need a more powerful machine to really get it to do the things I want it to do and not be constantly at the like 95% threshold. But yeah, we're in good shape there. Now, the other problem I have here I haven't even said any of this yet. I have a problem is I can't have multiple camera angles unless I change my NDI feed to from the web. So I'm using NDI web input, right? And here I can change my feed to something else. Oh, great. The menu is open on that. So let's see if I can figure out which button this one is. Okay. So cleared that. And now I can, so that's not super complicated. And I can show this ramen and my coffee. Hey, Jeremy, Ember Mug Club. That's thanks to you, buddy. I own this because of you. So there you go. But I have to change the input inside the webcam thing to do that, and it's kind of clunky. So in order to do that, it's a few extra clicks. I guess I don't hate that, but yeah, it is. I guess what I say it is. You need to send. Oh wait, you need them to send you Wirecast Gear 3. Oh, and I've got some guests here coming in. Yeah, I would be game for trying that out. This was a trial license that we used for testing, but I also then was using it to broadcast the show. Oh, that menu being on was me. Okay, well we can reprimand you for that later, senseless. Joystick can kind of act as a switcher via pass-through. Oh, okay. Yeah, there's an option, I guess. NetHab, what's going on? Thanks for joining us today. And all right, we officially have my first guest. I'm going to bring in Monty. What's going on, man?
Hey, how are you, John?
I'm doing all right. I'm getting ready to have this ramen live on camera. So,
what flavor? What flavor do we have today?
Today is curry.
All right.
Yeah, it's a little hotter than last week's, or
okay.
Than Thursdays.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is it like a 5 out of 5 kind of rating, or is it a?
No, it's not a 2-time spicy. Ember Mug Club. Okay. There you go. Yeah, it's definitely not a 2-time spicy, but it is. I think it's supposed to be pretty hot. It's supposed to be hotter than the cheese one we had the other day, and we all thought that the Scoville rating was way too low on that. So, hey, what's going on, CJ?
Hello.
Hey, thanks for jumping in, man.
This is pretty slick. I like it.
Yeah, I've been watching other guys use StreamYard, and yeah, I really like the fact that I can like just pile people in here, and it works pretty well. So, what's going on, This is Balu. How's it going, man? Are you there? You got your microphone on, Balu?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, are you eating the ramen already?
No,
Oh boy.
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Doing
Good.
well.
I'm doing great. Thanks for jumping in.
What is the name meaning?
No. Meat site. There we go. Boom.
He's
Now we're
gonna
good.
he's gonna correct it, I guess. Wait, I don't see a change.
Hmm.
Hang on, I don't see a change in your name. What's up?
Oh, yeah. I'm Khajiit Has Wares.
You're gonna
So
have to
call me-
explain that to folks.
I sent you the video.
Oh, you did? Oh,
Yeah, it's that
okay.
video you said I wasted 30 seconds of your life.
Oh,
He will never
that's
get that
right.
back.
Yeah.
Yes,
One of those.
that's right. Okay, cool. All right. So yeah, so StreamYard lets you have like, if you pay for a subscription, it lets you have like 10 guests on, which I'm super excited about because I think in the initial link that I sent out, there's only 9 of us in there, or maybe no, there's 12 of us. So on the off chance that everyone's free, which is really unlikely, then we wouldn't have enough. But it's an Elder Scrolls reference.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that, Senseless. Thanks for catching all of us old fogies up. Hey, so same rule applies. If you have questions or whatever, feel free to throw them in the chat. Now, we've got 2 support agents live, and we've got 2 sales guys. And so, yeah, feel free. This is your chance. I mean, it may just all be BirdDog guys watching this show at this point. So hopefully having more people on will drive that audience. But yeah, good times. So what's going on, Monty? how are things now? Where are you located these days? I keep forgetting because our team keeps growing like crazy.
Well, let's see. These days and also past days, I am out in New Mexico. I'm halfway between Santa Fe and Albuquerque.
Okay, cool.
So live
So
out in the country on a bunch of land on my own.
so you have a you're off the grid, are you not?
I am. Yeah.
How does that work?
Well, it actually works really well. We moved from Texas, from Dallas. Actually, we lived in Texas for all of our lives essentially. In March of 2020, about a week before the state shut down, due to COVID. Right? We ended up we already we're already in the process of moving. It just COVID happened to coincide with that. But yeah, we found some property out, a rural property out in New Mexico. We use solar for all of our electricity. We use catchment off the roof into a big cistern tank for our water, and have propane trucked in, for cooking and heating water and stuff like that, of course. But it's great.
Nice.
We're at like 6,000 feet of elevation, so it's a little cooler, and it's part of the desert Southwest, so we're extremely dry from a humidity standpoint. Unlike Texas. I remember the conversation I was having with my wife originally about wanting to move out here. We were sitting on our front porch, 4th of July, 2019, with 100 degrees and about 98% humidity in Dallas, and it was just like, with all the police sirens going off and everyone shooting off fireworks around us and all the traffic noise and everything else, and we're like, I think I want a little quieter life. Well, we found it.
Yeah,
we found it for sure.
I don't blame you. You're out there though, eh? What's the closest major airport for you?
Albuquerque is an hour away. Santa Fe is 45 minutes.
Okay, you're kind of right in the middle.
Yeah. Honestly, I fly out of Albuquerque most of the time. It's a smaller airport with about 20 gates, 10 on the left-hand side, 10 on the right-hand side. But Southwest, Delta, United American all fly out of there.
It's kind of like flying out of Abilene, Texas, is what it sounds like. That's my
kind of
reference
like
for a small
Amarillo.
airport.
Yeah. But the thing is, like in living in Dallas, I flew out of Dallas Love Field all the time, and Love Field's the same way. It's 20 gates.
Yeah.
Like 18 of those gates were Southwest Airlines in Love Field, and 2 were one was Delta, one was something else type of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it works fine.
Awesome.
Yeah, we've really enjoyed living out here for sure.
Jeremy has a question for CJ. Are you Ember Mug Club as well?
I am team member here. It's the cult. You gotta get in.
I feel like maybe there should be like standard issue around here at this point.
It
You
should be in
at
your
least have
welcome pack or something.
Yeah, there you go.
Instead of the all the stickers, give me some Ember mugs and I'll be good.
Yep.
But yeah, I love this thing. Can't live without it. Especially when you're doing like talking to people and you have meetings and then you sit the cup down and then they have a question and you forget about your coffee and then you turn over 30 minutes later and you're like, oh yeah, this is still good. So
Yeah.
it's really nice. Big winning feature there. So
Awesome. Yeah. Okay, so just to explain a little bit of this as to like how this all kind of comes around. So on Tuesday, Balu and I kind of gave a dry run on a free version of StreamYard, and it worked pretty well. Him and I talk all the time, so we didn't really have a whole lot to share. But then I thought, okay, so this might work, and I put a group together in Teams, which is what we use here at BirdDog, and then asked all these guys, hey, you're in relative North American time zone, and the guys over in Europe. If you want to join in on a chat, feel free. And so the whole plan of this is basically just to have a come and go whenever they can, and to join in the conversation. We can talk about anything that's going on. We can also have, like I said, questions and what have you. So if people want real-time feedback from the BirdDog group, it's not just kind of support exclusive at this point, but we can do this kind of on a regular basis. So whenever guys are available, they'll jump in. And we kind of chat as to, and if there's no questions, we can talk about like the NDI landscape and stuff like that too, because that's changing really fast all the time. And so probably be better than me just talking to myself all the time. So yeah, I'm looking forward to having some folks on. The other thing too is it's not really BirdDog exclusive, so I'll probably send an invite over to Tom Sinclair at some point. Send an invite over to a few other people, and have them on as well. So yeah, good times. Here we go. Life hack from Jeremy. Yeti tumbler fits perfect on top of the Ember mug too, which is the one that I have.
So yeah, I'll be right back.
So I was and there's a knockoff brand at Walmart that I have two of them. I can't remember what it's. The picture is like a mountain or something like that. But anyways, they're identical size as well.
Probably
for the-
Ozark or something like that.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
if
like
mine's
their house
Ember.
brand.
Yeah, I don't know if mine's Ember 1 or 2, but I don't know if there's an indicator.
Nice.
It was a Christmas present, so I didn't pick it, but I've been eternally grateful since. So
That's true. Are you just straight coffee, or what are you drinking out of that?
yep, like your grandpa had it, just straight.
Black
No cream
like
or
your soul.
anything, eh?
Yeah, Americano, right?
All right. All right. Well, this ramen is getting cooled. So while we attempt to talk, I'm also going to attempt to eat this and see how this goes. And Balu are you doing this as well?
Yeah.
All right. Here we go.
He's
like
so
you-
excited about it.
Yeah,
Super excited.
you East Coast guys, that gives me nausea thinking about that right now.
I should have shipped all this stuff out to you guys as well, and then we could have just all partaken.
You need to get breakfast foods from Auntie here.
Just put an egg on it. I call it breakfast.
I was gonna say that's basically what it is. Like I can call this breakfast. I've just had coffee this morning, so I typically don't eat very much in the morning. So this is like the first go for me. So yeah.
Most of the world does not have like an American kind of breakfast.
Yep.
Food option in their regiment.
Yeah, I don't really miss it, but it doesn't fly with the 4-year-old and the 8-year-old. So they want to eat something, but this is the start of my metabolism every morning at this point, at least on Thursdays. Okay, well, this is
Not dying.
I'm not dying like I was last Thursday, and I wondered like maybe because we took like a whole month off because of NAB, and guys, we should talk about that in a minute. But yeah, that maybe it hurt, but maybe that was also just the first bite, and it's not as spicy as the rest of this is. This is like these bites are too big. I broke this up today to try and make it manageable to eat on camera. But
Are you guys a soupy ramen fan or more of a dry, like saute the sauce into the noodle kind of fan?
Soup,
Okay.
definitely.
I'm the saute guy.
I'm kind of with you there, John, as well.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever I get done with a bowl of ramen, I don't have to drink the water out of the bottom of the.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's
There's nothing wrong with
wasted.
that.
It's
Right.
wasted spice on me, so you might as
Yeah.
well Get on the. Oh man, that bite was strong. Okay, yeah. Pretty good though. You know, I thought I wasn't going to enjoy the curry flavor, but actually, it's really good. Kind of a fan. I'm glad that there is like 3 more packs available. I might actually eat that one. Yeah, what's going on, Senseless? You don't want to join us here? Is that the problem? Technically 3. I'm just drinking water and eating yogurt, so I should. Oh yeah, NetHab said the after the ramen it was going to be two dead support guys.
Yeah.
So yeah, we might have sales take over here after we're done with the ramen. Yeah, it is starting to come and burn a little bit. And hot coffee doesn't always work well with spice.
Yeah, I'm gonna cheat.
That burns again. So yeah, good times. Awesome. Here we go. Senseless has a question for you. We'll see who it's for though. With the new PF 110 120, will they require multi-step setup for update process like our other cameras? Wasn't sure if the MICU is done on the web UI or not for these. The update process on the PF 110. You did all those updates, didn't you, CJ? Is that MICU on the NDI 5 one?
I didn't have to install anything USB stick wise. But it was my understanding that for this one they were either reducing or trying to eliminate the USB stick update, because I know, like, for instance, the PF 120, you don't need a USB stick to update that. So I think with the P 120 110, it's going with the same route of no more USB stick updates. So we'll know more obviously when the full NDI 5 is released, and those will start coming off, production. And so it might need like one off the bat, but to my understanding, the goal is to reduce and eliminate. So because I would definitely like those to be gone completely, and I know you guys over there would absolutely like those gone. So
yes, that has been. Oh man, I was trying to eat as much as I could while you were talking.
I'll keep going.
No, you're all good now. That has been one of the major touch points with customers, is that they really just want, like a unified update process. And we can dream big about what that looks like. But I think the first step is to get rid of the USB stuff. And I know that with these P110s and 120s, there's a redesign process that kind of was taking place when we agreed to build them. And so we build them with Bolin because they're Bolin baseboard. But basically that we wanted control over the MICU stuff so that we could integrate it on a level that when they come out with an update, it can be done on the web UI. So that's like the PF 120 is a Bolin build, but it's ours. Like we designed it and they helped manufacture it. These ones are also our build. And so the same agreement was, look, we don't want to have a Bolin camera and slap a BirdDog sticker on it. We want to have a BirdDog camera, and we want Bolin to be the innards and the workings with the Sony sensors. So I think that agreement was partially in an effort to unify that update process, which I think will go a long way when it comes to customer experience. Will probably be a giant headache saver for sales, because now it's, when you want to update the camera, you just do everything on the web UI. You don't have to get up on a lift or anything like that to actually get this done, which is proving to be a major issue with our first run of the camera, so P200, P100. But really for the P100, that's been a really big issue, because P100 also has an additional step. There's a 3-step process for updating. And so when you require plugging in a USB like A to B, or I forget what the actual connection is, but basically a printer cable to the camera to do the first step, that was a real pain point for customers after they got them hard installed. And then we came out with big updates that required a full, step 1, step 2, step 3, to the point where people had to rent stuff to get access to the cameras just to do the update. So I know having those unified updates is the first step in the right direction. I know there are talks of making that even more unified, where it's, an update button instead of downloading a file and all that sort of thing, but that's kind of off in the distance. But that would be really the next step, because then you can integrate that on an API level. You can integrate that with, like a platform that you can then see all devices that need updates, and that really then centralizes and gives BirdDog an advantage, because nobody is doing that yet. So having all the updates available, at least on the web UI, is a big step in that direction. Sorry, I dominated that conversation like crazy.
No, you're correct.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, by the way, folks. I'm just kind of watching things. We've got a handful of people over on Twitch and another handful on YouTube. So yeah, thanks for jumping on, and I really appreciate the my new panelists joining me for this first real rundown of our, I don't know what we're going to call this, just BirdDog Live now.
I don't know. I think we need to get more bird pun stuff still going. Like this is the flock or something, or the herd. I don't know.
Pack.
Yeah, the meeting of the flock. Or what do you call well, there's got to be specific names for groups of birds, and so yeah, we can totally come up with something.
Ones. And I saw how you say it, Nethab.
Oh yeah, Nethab. Yeah.
Oh yeah, you popped it up.
Yep.
For that one, it's hard to say because we've only seen one demo unit in person, and that was at NAB. But a murder of crows is what it.
That's a good one.
But so it should be able to record the NDI straight on the device. With that said, it's going to be in the super bandwidth heavy format of NDI. So you're talking like 100 megs per second. The hope is that with SDI and HDMI sources, you'd be able to choose a codec like H.264, H.265. I don't think any of that's been finalized and is still in process of being developed. So I don't think we have full answers, but I know that there's probably going to be options for all three. It's just going to depend on, how big your hard drive is, if you can record that straight NDI. But similar to Studio Monitor, if you fire that up and record it, you can do it. It'll just take up a ton of space on your computer. So that's kind of where the core will, I think, lie in that.
What is I missed this spec. What's the internal storage or storage? Hang on. There's like a noodle hanging down the back of my throat. What is the storage or internal storage, or what's the story with that with Core? Are there any details on that?
It's not going to have onboard like external or it's not going to have onboard storage. Obviously, besides like the processing memory, the plan is that there will be a USB-C input at the top.
Okay,
and that's where you can put a flash drive or a hard drive. And so since it's USB-C, you're going to get that 3.0 speeds. Right. So you can keep up with any format that there is. But yeah, there's not. I don't think it's going to be like the iPod days of you choose your 32 or 64 gigabyte core.
Right.
It's going to be all external.
Cool. Well, first of all, it's one less thing to replace, and people can buy whatever they want at that point, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, that's.
Well, and in terms of like film post-production world, it's like those files get so big as it is. So there's not that many devices that have enough internal, like, people would if you put a terabyte internal storage, people are like, why'd you only put one, two? And so you go down that whole rabbit hole for sure. So I know that's one of the considerations for that device. And so throw on whatever external USB-C drive you want. So,
well, and then I guess that keeps the price steady. Like there's not a whole bunch of variations of the same product.
Yeah, it'll just be the two SKUs of the 5.5 inch and then the 7 inch. The 7 inch will have a little bit more bells and whistles than the 5.5. Like you'll get the balanced XLR inputs. That's kind of the main thing. And then it also has the EtherCon locking connector, whereas the 5.5 is just a regular Ethernet jack.
Oh, okay.
So those are kind of the two biggest feature, I guess, if you can say, differences besides the screen size. So
yeah, I didn't get over to that side of where those were being displayed very, very much during NAB.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, how busy we were at the booth, But second of all, you couldn't get near them. There were so many people hanging around there that was like, I'm not gonna like elbow my way through there to take a look. And then at the end of the day, when you probably do have time to be around them, you're so exhausted that you're ready to go and lay down or go get some food or something. So I didn't like pick them up and look at them like I should have.
Well, I mean, yeah, they were under the glass too, so it's kind of hard to get your hands on them. I didn't want to touch them because if I broke them, I would probably be fired. So I didn't want to mess with that. So yeah, they were smack dab in the middle of the booth.
Good reason why they were under glass. So
yeah,
there were some of the only ones that were available for us to show.
Yeah, but no, I'm personally really excited about. I think that is like one of the coolest things, and has been, maybe 1 or 2 years coming, where people have been asking for that. And I think it's gonna be the ultimate new Swiss Army knife, kind of how like the BirdDog Studio started.
Yep.
Like I personally still own 2 of those myself.
Yep.
And it is truly the BirdDog, your little faithful assistant, your Swiss Army knife. So I think this core is going to take it to the next level, where it's like, oh, you need a monitor and you want to stream it somewhere? Sure, go for it.
Right.
So it's gonna be pretty sick, especially for live and post.
Yeah. Yeah, there are going to be a lot of options here in the future that were just like kind of pipe dreams just a few years ago. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes. Man, that ramen was stinking spicy at the end.
Yeah.
How you doing, CC?
I'm handling it all right.
Man, I'm
still lingering.
Yeah, it definitely is lingering. So that's for sure.
Was it one of those that kind of gets you like in the hair follicles? Kind of starts popping the sweat a little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah, I'm not sweating, but my mouth is definitely on fire, and the coffee's not helping take that down. So it's gonna I'm gonna need time at this point to make that happen.
Nostrils are very clear.
Yeah. Yeah, Jeremy, we're all pretty excited to get our hands on these monitors.
Extremely. I'm very pumped about that. Can't wait to get one here.
Yeah, I was gonna be like, I'm gonna definitely have one for when I ever set up my new recording space. So
yep. Yeah, we run a whole variety of monitors just for testing purposes, and so it's nice to have other people's, because you can test it against other, whatever they consider a standard. But it'll be also nice to have our own, to kind of have one in the fleet, if you will. That's like, it's nice because it's turning out to be kind of like a BirdDog ecosystem, where you can hodgepodge things from all over the industry, right? You can buy different cameras or converters or whatever, but like BirdDog is really kind of fleshing out the offerings, and it is we are kind of building an ecosystem that's going to work really well together, from a BirdDog standpoint. So I'm excited about that, because I think it will set some expectations in the industry, which we don't have yet, just because everybody's kind of doing the thing they're really good at, the one thing. And it'll be nice to branch out a little bit and to have kind of a standardized, here's full NDI, the best way it can be. So
yeah.
With Silicone 2 update, adding so many more protocols to the converter families, will it let you convert an external IT source like ProPresenter into SRT?
If you can get ProPresenter into the said converter, then yes, you'd be able to take that input and then SRT it out to either a custom port, or if you're using cloud, you can direct it in that. So yeah, if you have ProPresenter coming out of a computer, and then as far as being an NDI source, if you had like one of the flex outs, you could take the ProPresenter's NDI feed and then you could decode it as SRT. So yes to that question.
Nice.
Depending on which device, I don't know if you're talking for a specific device, but that would be the ProPresenter. Yep. It has native NDI output. So yeah, if you have one of the HDMI, one of our decoders, you'll be able to SRT that signal somewhere. So I'm trying to think for a church, I guess if you have a different campus or something and you wanted to get that over, that'd probably be the biggest use case he's thinking. But
ProPresenter, they struggled at first with their first implementation of NDI, but like so did everybody. But it's gotten a lot better. It
Yeah.
is, excuse me, it is very computer CPU heavy. And so when
Well,
when you're generating ProPresenter, when you're running ProPresenter as is, and if you just take their base recommendations off Renewed Vision's website and you run ProPresenter and then you fire up the NDI side of things, you're going to max that thing out. So definitely step it up on the computer side just so that it'll generate the NDI correctly and you're not going to get any drop frames.
when a lot of people run Max at these places, so that also doesn't quite help. But yeah, so yeah, whichever decoder in our line would be what you would be able to do that with.
Yeah, my recommendation with ProPresenter actually to keep it running, especially if you're running a Mac, is to use like a Mini or a Flex or something like that, and do the way that I have it set up where I am is we use a Mini to intercept it, and so we use the loop out. It goes to the screen. So
yeah,
we have a splitter that runs the two screens at the front, which is what ProPresenter outputs to. But before it gets to that splitter, I loop it out, and so it goes into the Mini, encodes full NDI, puts it on the network, but then outputs it over to the splitter, which then feeds three screens, or four technically, I guess. So there's three monitors or three projectors in the auditorium, and a monitor that's sitting on a desk next to ProPresenter, and so you can see what's being outputted without needing to look at all the screens. You can see it right there. So that signal is then being generated, and we can bring that in natively to NDI. You can also, if that's the setup you have, you can also run something like screen capture and output that split screen, as long as ProPresenter doesn't struggle so much with it. But if you're bringing it into a streaming service like OBS or something like that, it's best to keep those in the SMPTE resolution. So 1080p, 720. Obviously, 720 is going to be less demanding than 1080. So whatever you can get away with. We use 720 for streaming purposes on YouTube, and it works pretty much as expected. And we're not throwing the slides from ProPresenter up there that often. Sometimes announcements and whatever, but for the most part, we're doing lower thirds, which is being generated out of ProPresenter. So the issue we have is we generate NDI alpha channel lower thirds in ProPresenter, but then if we turn on a second encode for ProPresenter to do full screen, that's when it bottlenecks the computer. So it doesn't have any issue with like running lyrics, but it really has a problem with doing a secondary full screen NDI encode. So that's especially we just have a standardized like Mac Mini, so it's not very beefy or anything. This one, which device works? That is the one I would buy. Whichever device works, that's the one I'd buy. I mean, I like for this scenario. I don't know if this is what you're referring to, but for this scenario, I do like the Mini because you do get the loop out on that, and it's fairly inexpensive right now compared to other options on the market. So,
but the Mini won't have the Silicon 2 update, right? So that one won't be doing SRT. To my
that's
knowledge.
true. Yeah, referring back to NetHab's comment. Yeah, you're right. So that one, if you're just loading up my scenario, then Mini's fine. But yeah, if you're looking for the Silicon 2 stuff, then you have quads at all locations, at all your campuses. And so he says, and the biggest iMac Pro money can buy. So do you have performance issues, NetHab? Like, I'd be interested to know then how it works. If you're outputting NDI multiple times, are you doing just a single output? Are you doing lower thirds? What is what's your scenario there?
And you kind of said, John, talking about the landscape of NDI, because it is cool to see things like ProPresenter, Premiere, Avid. They're all implementing NDI plugins or NDI outputs, and so it's been pretty cool that BirdDog, we're taking advantage of it in terms of implementing that into workflows.
Right.
And I guess for a plug, speaking of branching out, we will be also at Infocom next week.
Ooh.
And that's kind of our big show. Monty and I will be there, along with Rob, who's one of our other channel managers. So we'll be back in Vegas again for the gauntlet. So hopefully we survive. But that's the big show coming up next week.
You're going to be... So when is that show? That's Monday? It starts on Monday, right?
No, it's a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday show.
Oh, my bad. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah,
I got my shipping dates.
Monday's
and
arrival days for us, and Tuesday is set up and so forth. We will since we are primarily centric right now in that broadcast and production space. Of course, we had the massive booth at NAB and ISE and so forth. The AV world for us is still kind of under development, so to speak. So one of our U.S. distributors, Broadfield, has been gracious enough to allow us some space in their booth. So North Hall, booth number 1374, if I remember right, kind of in the back left corner of the North Hall.
Yeah, that's gonna be pretty. Now, have we been at Infocom? Do you guys know if BirdDog's been at Infocom in the past?
We went in a very, very limited capacity last year at the weird Florida one that they had. We were we displayed. It was me and Filippo. We displayed the SDM module, and it was like I think the first time we'd ever shown it to people. So that was kind of, but that show was also a lot smaller than usual. Like there was like one hall, and that was it. Probably I think it was like 15,000 people, and then the show
it was less than, it was around 7,500.
Oh, see,
yeah. Typically, Infocom is what was the numbers? I looked these up actually.
It's like 40.
In 2019, it was like 44,000, and then 2021 it was 7,000 and change.
Yeah. So I was one of those 7, and it felt like it. So it was weird, show. But so we're excited for this one. And we'll have some of this stuff. We don't have any of the new crazy new things. Pod was the one we were trying to get our hands on. Supposedly it's work. They have working models, but we couldn't get like a pretty looking one. So
right.
But that one will be also cool for anyone needing basically webcams. Anything NDI. You could take ProPresenter into Zoom if you wanted. So there's a lot of applications that will come with that.
Yeah, there's going to be, it's from a support standpoint, like, I started quite a while ago where we just had a couple of products, and now it's like how many things we came out with at NAB, but also, irons in the fire. And people, the thing I noticed almost right away is people dream about ways that they can implement it in ways that we never thought it would be used. And so when it comes down to support, then it's like, well, how are we going to support all these like basically dreamers, and they're like making all these solutions and coming up with all these really like interesting ways to use stuff. But it's not just like, it's not just like a simple like do this, it works, because people are creating these very complex ways of integrating our products into their systems. And so you really got to get into the weeds a lot of the time, which is what takes the majority of the time. Senseless and Balu would be able to attest to this, is the majority of the time trying to figure out with customers, how are you using it? And then, what is it not doing, or how do you need it to perform, and all that sort of good stuff. Because they've taken it from a dream stage to like, they're actuating it, they're actually doing it. And, they're trying to, kind of achieve the dream at that point. And so the amount of conversations I had at NAB about where people want to go with our gear, and specifically the stuff that we announced, is a little bit daunting, because it's like, oh, you guys, like, we had one guy, an AV installer, show up. He's a buddy of mine that I've known for years, and he was just like, open gear. He's like, we're not an NDI, we're not doing NDI stuff, but that open gear card would change things for us, because we put a video, a chassis, an open gear chassis, in every install we do, and we could use NDI on the back plane for like monitors and backstage and a whole bunch of other stuff. So now all of a sudden, open gear is a conversation that has opened an avenue into a market that otherwise they're not interested in the cameras and that sort of thing, but they are interested in like the back plane that we can now support. So it's going to get out of hand, or get out of control real quick here. So looking forward to BirdDog expanding. That'll be pretty exciting. Jeremy, I got your email. I did shoot you an email back, so take a look for that if you get a chance. Oh, and all right, here, let me introduce Jeremy Kloosterman, a buddy of mine from a couple of years ago, one of my first friends in the industry ages ago. How are you doing, man?
Good. How's it going?
I'm doing all right. Why don't you interject us to where you fit in the industry these days? I knew Jeremy when he worked for Telstream, but he's not there anymore. So, let us know where you're at, man.
Yeah, no, thanks for joining me in, because this is awesome. I love this platform and just being able to do this. So, welcome, guys. So no, I've been live streaming in the industry for 13 years. So really, just all things live stream. Worked at Telestream doing it. Now I work at Resi, live streaming service provider. So if you're familiar with it, we're more focused on the reliability side and quality side. So the high quality video. And so we sacrifice latency, which is kind of like not the buzzword in the industry right now.
Right.
But we definitely have the reliability side down. And so we serve, churches, corporations, anybody who's live streaming that doesn't have the best internet connectivity. Or, like if Monty's off the grid, we can hook up like a USB LTE dongle to our encoders and stream just fine over LTE with a single source because of our latency. So it's pretty cool.
Nice. NetHab is jumping in here with a couple of things. He's got iMacs running Sonnet enclosure with DeckLink Duo card running 5 outputs, full screen, LED wall, lower thirds, plus alpha, foldback, and stage display. We're looking at solutions to get all these feeds from each campus back to the master control so we can throw back and forth on each campus live, including cameras and computer graphics. We also run Resi, and we're living as one second customer back when they shipped you an HP laptop instead of a purpose-built encoder decoder.
Wow.
There you go.
That's awesome.
He's been around for a while.
Yeah.
I've heard of the living as that's like the church branded encoder.
Well, we started as Living as One.
Oh, did you guys rebrand?
Yeah,
that?
we
okay.
rebranded to Resi.
Okay.
Everybody thought we were a marriage conference. Living as One. It's like,
No, I would see those. I think I first saw Living as One encoders like 3 years ago, maybe, and I saw it in church, and I was like, "Wow, I see their market." Like it was pretty clear what you guys were going for. I didn't realize you guys rebranded to Resi.
Yep.
Now I've seen your name in a lot more places. So
yeah, we've been at Streaming Media. We won a couple of Streaming Media awards, and then we're just at Streaming Media East. Which was pretty awesome, but again, being that we're not. Oh, thanks, John.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Being that we're a higher latency, it's definitely a purpose-built, designed product that we run. I think it's like a 90-second delay for our live stream, but we make sure every frame of video gets up to our cloud and then streamed out to the web.
What's the use case? Like, I've been trying to figure out, because I was having this discussion with the guys that I help on weekends at the congregation, and they keep pushing me, like the ministers and stuff keep pushing me, like, let's move this to low latency mode now, and let's like move this to like as fast as we. And I'm like, why? Like, what you're doing here in the house and people watching it on YouTube at home, like they don't know that they're 30 seconds behind,
right?
And they don't care, like, and we're not doing any sort of like live interaction where NetHab sends us a comment and I throw it on the screen. Like we're not doing that, and the church is not interacting in that sort of fashion yet. I guess maybe there are options on the plate, but what is like? To me, if Resi has longer latency, but you're guaranteeing all the frames, like I don't really see that as an issue, because unless you're doing interactive church online, that shouldn't really matter, right?
And that is the biggest drawback is church. Some churches are doing a very interactive church online. So whether they're using like the church online platform or Brushfire, something like that, where it's super interactive with chat, You're rolling out moments like instantaneously to something happening in the service that you want people to interact with.
Right.
Biggest thing that we've heard is like Q&A times. You may have a session that's a Q&A, and you want that instant feedback. And I said, well, my biggest response to that is have a canned question that you can start out with.
Yeah.
Have a canned question that you're like, hey, this is a question that one of our staff member has. Let's start off with this. It lets other questions come in, and it definitely helps in that aspect.
Right. Interesting. Yeah, there's definitely like a workflow portion of all those like streaming services and that sort of thing, right? Like, so literally streaming the service is what I meant.
Yeah.
But there's a workflow question that has to be answered by the congregation. Like, how do you want to what is it that you want to produce and put online? You hate to call it like, what product are you going to make and put out there? But in a very real sense of it is, it's like, well, there's thousands and thousands of services every Sunday morning that are running. And so are you doing this to still reach to the folks who are not coming in yet, or who are members but not coming, or are you trying to reach new people, or like what is the deal? And I mean, me personally, I find that the broadcasts that go nowhere are the ones where there is no vision for any of that stuff, and it's just like we want to get our message out there or get our service out there or whatever. And they might have a guy switching service, like switching the video, or they might have somebody actually running a sound feed. But at the end of the day, if there's no clear defined, this is what we use it for, and so that goes into like, what are you using for? Are you doing live interactions with folks that are at home, which plugs them in a certain way that other services don't do. A lot of services don't do. Whereas, a lot of the time it's just like a window. It's like people from the outside can look inside, but not commit to anything or not have to hug anybody. So,
well, and the biggest thing we're seeing in the industry is people who are either searching or checking out a church specifically, is they're watching the live streams 6 to 7 times before they ever come through the doors, the physical doors.
Yeah.
And so when you have a stream like a lot of your streams running Wirecasts, because you're doing so much on that on that computer, things like that will bog it down, and you get audio delay issues. You get really strange things happening to your web stream. And that's what we're trying to get away from, because that drives people away. Everybody knows that, like, if you're watching a live stream and it's not quality, people aren't going to come back and continue watching it.
Yeah, there's this funny conversation about, well, we don't want it to be a production, but it's like, but you don't understand. People are used to watching things on their television that are productions, and so if you don't put any time and effort behind it, then nobody's going to watch it. It's one of those interesting. It's like that little factoid of, it's like the video can be crystal clear, but if the audio sucks, no one's going to watch the video. And it's like, you don't know those things until you sit down and talk about it and think about it. What is it that you want to show? That have said, some speakers like that real-time feedback, and they're used to Zoom where they can see everyone's face and react to it. That has been like a really interesting, we'll see you later, Monty. That's been an interesting kind of unfolding, because a lot of ministers, not all of them, but a lot of ministers have an extroverted, like they like to make people connections. And so putting them in a digital world where it's very, like you're talking to a lens, that's the opposite of what they're comfortable with. So yeah, I'm looking at you, extroverts. Yeah, exactly. It's definitely a conversation that, I mean, at Resi, you probably have to have this conversation all the time, right? Like, with folks about, it's not just about shipping the packets off to Resi and getting them all over there. It's like, what are you trying to actually make? Yeah. So that's nerdy stuff that I like, which, now that you've come out of the I don't know where you went for 2 years, but now that you seem to show up on my show every couple of weeks, now I can ask these questions.
It's been a busy 2 years, and it's still busy, but
what did pandemic like push you guys into the stratosphere that it did for BirdDog? Because
it was amazing.
yeah,
Amazing.
that was something else, man.
But I wanted to come on here to learn a little bit more about your monitor, because I've seen that as an amazing use case for a few other corporations that are doing like virtual events and that side of things. Your monitor with like the 7-inch specifically, can you do switching of the two sources and then output SDI?
No, it's not going to be a substitute for like it's not going to do the Atomos thing where you can kind of switch on it.
Okay.
The things that will be kind of cool is I know that they're messing with trying to do, it's not confirmed or anything, but trying to do like encode and decode at the same time for SRT.
Yeah.
So that'd be shooting out an SRT stream and maybe taking one in at the same time. So like you could basically have kind of like a program bug to switch between. So that would be a really cool thing for remote productions, especially for people that are, just part of a production and still need to see that program feed. Even if it's in that 1 or 2 second delay, that's, anything kind of under 2 seconds in live, you can usually get away with, except for like maybe sports. But yeah, so that's kind of where that one's going to be slated. It's not necessarily a switcher, but I know that the switcher has been a big thing that people have been talking about. I guess our closest thing to a switcher is now our keyboard puts out a program output called router. And so basically now our PTZ keyboard actually spits out an NDI feed of what camera you're looking at. With that said, there is about a half-second pause, so it's still not a live switching substitute, unfortunately. I don't know. I feel like probably going to be in the cloud is where it'll be in the future or something like that. Just how everything's kind of going there. And with our cloud platform specifically, that would be a nice fit. I don't know of anything. I haven't been told anything in that realm, but I was going to ask for net. I keep saying his name. NetHab.
Yeah.
Have they messed with cloud at all to transport all these feeds in their different campuses? Because you could use that, especially because you can do alpha keys on that as well.
Yeah. So are you saying that he would convert it to SRT with the endpoint? Is that the idea?
You could do the SRT, or he could do utilize Connect to do WebRTC, or if they have like smart TVs or iPads and stuff, they can view it, and that'd be like a delay as we're talking right now, like a WebRTC delay. So those are two options that we have. But yeah, I think Jeremy, this core is definitely going to kind of slate in to be the bridge and Swiss Army knife, I feel like, for people's workflows.
I still see a huge use case where because you can decode and do SDI output on the 7, correct?
Yeah, so it'll be kind of like the studio, how the studio was. You can decode out SDI, HDMI, or cross convert. Kind of like all our devices, it won't have upscaling, so you won't have that, but you will be able to cross convert HDMI, SDI. So it really is going to be kind of like the cool bridge, right, to get on and off NDI in whatever format you want.
Yeah, because we constantly get asked, do we have an encoder that receives NDI? And I said we don't, but just buy a BirdDog converter. Convert it from NDI to SDI, run it into our encoder, and you're all set.
Yeah, and with our Silicon 2 update, it will now become the thing that you can receive an NDI signal and then SRT out. So that will be answered. Or if you have other stuff that needs a physical cable, you can still convert it to NDI or vice versa. So I'm pretty excited for like the road map of what it is with our cloud. And I've kind of said it's like there's definitely a 360 approach philosophy going on to where we can connect every device that we have, and then help people connect all their devices. Because I think that is, people are currently having to buy this converter, that converter, this software, that software, proprietary this. And so it's going to be cool to be able to be like, oh yeah, here, stick on, this converter, and you can go whatever way you want. So that's kind of where it'll be going.
Yeah, it's that whole BirdDog ecosystem that I'm excited to see kind of piecing it together. It takes a while, like it takes a while to get to that spot, but it's been a few years in the making. So
Yeah, but and the great part is it's going to be kind of agnostic to work with everything.
right.
Mind the church pun, I guess, but it's not going to care what it's working with. So that's the neat part is kind of like NDI doesn't really care what what it's coming from.
Well, the Silicone 2 announcement, man, that curry is messing with my throat now. That Silicone 2 announcement is, I mean, it's humongous. I mean, it's still in development, and so there's still a lot of what ifs. But if it will do all the formats that they say it will, then it becomes even more about now it really doesn't care, right? Like you can run all sorts of stuff. I love that we're converting things over to SRT natively on the device. I think that's going to be a big deal because it's going to open the window for cloud to be a lot more applicable in many situations.
Now, are you guys seeing a lot of SRT endpoint opening up? Because SRT endpoints have still seemed somewhat limited. Like, right? It's not. Are you guys as developers seeing that like more endpoints?
Yeah, I think well, kind of with the whole cloud platform, that was the taking out the whole SRT limitations because a lot of SRT decoders you're limited to either a 1-to-1 signal, obviously, or certain platforms like vMix you can do 4 SRT outs, but you're still kind of hardware limited. So with cloud going NDI to SRT back to NDI, the back to NDI part was kind of the secret sauce that a lot of people still haven't fully grasped, and something that we're working at my team specifically is tries to work on to educate people on that. But yeah, if you have cloud, you can basically you will have an endpoint wherever you want, and you won't be limited by that. But your question was just that SRT decoders being limiting, right? Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, and that is still the case. And, there's the companies like High Vision that maybe is a kind of a similar model to Resi in terms of like, it's the reliability. That's the thing that they like, praise and stuff.
Yeah.
Which works, but those are very expensive and definitely kind of limited, and you have to buy 1-to-1 set pairs, right? Or you have to have an encoder and a decoder, which is kind of a pain.
Yeah. Which for our multi-site solution, it's kind of the same. You have to have an encoder and a decoder. So we do, and that's really what Living as One was founded on, is our point-to-point hub model.
Mm-hmm.
And so we work with a lot of multi-campus setup churches that are like one-to-many campus decode. So we have some organizations that have campuses all over the world, and so they run on a time delay, pull that feed into the decoder, and then basically have an advanced DVR system.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's that side of it's the same, but for our web streaming, it's just encoder out to web.
Gotcha.
And then I think we're the only provider that supplies a dash feed to Facebook and YouTube. So we run an adaptive bitrate dash to Facebook and YouTube in that aspect.
I was going to say those bit rates are different, though, right? Can you select what the bit rate is for each of those outputs, or is it the same across both?
It's the same.
Okay. I know when I was using Restream, not anymore, but when I was, they would have different variations, so you had to dial it way back for basically accommodate for the lowest, common denominator.
Yeah.
And so it's like 1,000 kilobits per second or something like that for Facebook. And so YouTube doesn't care one way or the other. You could send it whatever you want, but Facebook is very specific. So I'm not even streaming live to Facebook anymore. I just post the link for the YouTube page and let people join us there. Which two things here. We have a clarification here with we're going to go with NETHAB. Is that right? Is that what we're going to say it is? And he mentions, so we've played around with NDI Bridge, but we don't want that extra computer that a volunteer would need to be trained on. So BirdDog Cloud could be an option depending on price. Currently doesn't really get our ProPresenter NDI across?
The cloud should get ProPresenter across. So yes, you do have to have endpoint computers at each location.
Yep.
With the Silicon 2 update, that won't be the case. So you would just need a decoder at each location. And I guess if you had a quad, you could do multiple outs or multiple decoders sitting there. But as far as a volunteer, you can actually just access the cloud dashboard from anywhere. So they don't need to be, it's kind of a set and forget system to where you don't even want to volunteer touching the routing page.
Yep.
And kind of what I mentioned earlier, it's doing NDI to SRT to NDI if you want that workflow. And it's kind of like the secret magic sauce where it just pops up as an NDI feed. So if you had ProPresenter going into endpoint in your main campus and you sent it over cloud to your satellite campus, it would pop up at that satellite computer as an NDI feed. So from there, you could decode it out to a screen or do whatever you would need to do with that NDI feed.
Right.
So Silicon 2 will help a lot. Currently, yes, you would need like a laptop or like a Surface or like a little MacBook. Well, actually, it doesn't run on Mac yet. It will, but
when is that happening?
We have closed betas right now of the Mac implementation, but I know we have a couple people that are testing with it, so it's very close. Like Mac software is definitely kind of where we're catching up with, but I think the long term is we will be going to more web browser based platforms.
Yeah.
So it's not going to matter what you're on, which I think is smart. So instead of just catching up and porting everything over to Mac, we're going to go to web based.
Well, that's the new central announcement too, right? So a lot of that is just run it in the background, and then you just go to a website anywhere on the network, and it does what you need it to do, which is really slick. I mean, it is the way to do it because it enables it across the entire network instead of just across specific machines. So the other wrinkle is we're a portable setup and takedown campus, so another computer is another thing to forget to set up.
Yeah, I mean, if you plug it in, cloud will remember the endpoint. So if you have that license on that machine, it is set up to where when you turn it on, it will remember what you last did, and it'll try to reestablish that connection. The thing is with the cloud, also we have the free trial, so you can actually do a full workflow test for free, as long as you can just find 2 Windows computers of some type for now. Once Silicon 2 comes out, you will just need 1 computer.
I got another question for you. Do you guys have your own like standalone NDI router, like the Zen router product?
Yes, we have. Well, we have our central program is kind of our NDI. Are you talking about that sort of thing? Have you looked at central?
Man, it's been a while since I looked.
It's been a while, yeah.
Yeah, so we have basically 3 flavors of it. From beginner, where you can do 2 different destinations, to the kind of prosumer version, and then we just announced a enterprise version as well, and that was the one that John mentioned is web based, so you can actually run that just like in your web browser. Yeah, there they are, Lite, Pro, and Enterprise. Those basically will see any NDI source, and then you can route them to whatever destination. You can create groups for them. The enterprise one's going to have a lot of cool tricks. Like you can actually combine NDI signals to create new ones. So like if you have an NDI audio stream, you can combine it with another video stream, and you can create a new basically embedded stream.
So some layering capabilities, essentially, like where you're layering video on top of audio. And
yeah, so like if you have someone with a mixer from another room, and they're like, hey, we need to get that with this other video feed, instead of having to do that in a live switcher, you can actually have them kind of be it's called the generator. So you can actually generate a new NDI stream with both things included. Or I think it's actually not. Sorry, that's the retransmitter. And then the generators, you can actually like have it's basically like a video player. So if you have like content that you needed to be sent out somewhere that's on a loop or something, you can have that kind of all be automated within this platform. So, so the central, like I said, we have the Lite version, which is free to mess around with, but that's basically our NDI router that we have.
Yep.
Sweet.
Yeah, it's cool stuff. They were showcasing it at NAB, and Dan was doing his best to try and explain all the features that were involved, but there just wasn't, like, I think we started at like 45 minutes or an hour before the floor opened, and he was just talking so fast. I was like, if anybody is comprehending any of this at this point, he's just trying to like include, oh, and it'll do this, and it'll do this, and it'll do this and this, oh, and then this, and like, oh, check this out, and click here, and well, like, I was just like, I'm gonna remember none of this.
That's the challenge. Like, I think one of my pet peeves so far has become when I'm at trade shows. Yep. And I ask people, like, do you have any questions? And they're like, yeah. What do you all do? What are you? And it's like, okay. And then I'm like, well, what do you want to know? And then the where the pet peeve comes in is they say, tell me everything.
Right.
And I'm like, sorry, buddy. Like, I don't have, 30 minutes to sit here. And
like, how about if you tell me what you're trying to do?
Yeah. And I'll be like, what?
I'll fill in the holes.
Yeah. Well, and then, I'll be like, what industry are you in? Right. We'll do a segue there, and they'll be like, oh yeah, I'm with a local news station. It's cool. We're going to talk about two things. Like,
yep.
And you can kind of narrow it down. But yeah, it's funny seeing all that. There's so many different workflows and different use cases.
Yeah.
It's kind of ridiculous.
I was working. I did a demo with Dan and Eamon on BirdDog Cloud, like when you guys first released it. And so I was controlling Dan's. So I'm on the East Coast as well.
Okay.
I was controlling Dan's camera in my home office in Virginia, and he's halfway around the world. So I'm like, dude, this is amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's cool because you can have, like, we have cameras that are up in our Melbourne office, and I can, I guess, spy on them if I want, but yeah, I can control multiple cameras and bring them into a switcher, as if it was local.
Yeah, it's always a little weird when I come into the studio and the camera has clearly been like pointed out the window or something.
I was gonna say I've definitely used John's cameras a couple times.
That's not where I left you, but then again, it's on cloud, so anybody in the BirdDog organization can link up to it.
It's definitely Jake or I. So.
Yes.
Well, that's why I've told John many times, I'm like, man, if you get me an outdoor camera, I have beehives out in front, and John loves bees. So I'm like, dude, get a bee cam.
Get a little bee cam, connect it with cloud. Yeah, we could make that happen.
Yeah, we have a couple cool people. We have a dealer who's in Boston who works. He runs at the TD Garden for basketball, and he has like 2 A200s outside of his house that he lets people remote in for demos. And he had this cool video of it, like a snowstorm, and the A200 was just chilling, like, he was filming the other ones and then showing like the wiper go and clearing off the snow. So it's always cool to see those.
Yeah, that's cool stuff. Love it. Well, hey, Jeremy, thanks for joining us, man. I'm gonna wrap this up because we are well past the hour. But hey, everybody, thanks for jumping in on this little experiment. I like it. I like having you guys to talk to, and just sending an invitation over to somebody and he can jump in too. So yeah, that works pretty well for me. I'm kind of happy with that.
I will say lo-fi at like volume 20 would definitely help. Just a little bit of background.
Yeah, I know. I have to figure out how to bring that in, because I had options before with Wirecast, but I can't like bring in just an audio source into StreamYard. So I almost have to like bring in another guest on like another device, and then
you can do that. Yeah,
have that audio running like the VLC playlist or something like that. But it was a little too much to try and figure out first thing this morning with 1 hour to go before the show. So I cut my losses and went with it. But I do like the versatility of this, and my CPU is running at a cool 51% right now. So
can't beat that.
Yeah, I'll take that. I'll take that all day. So that's good stuff. Awesome. Well, thanks everybody. Thanks for showing up. And if you've sat around and watched the show, I really appreciate that too. We will probably do this again soon. So if I can figure out what buttons to click here and officially sign off of this show. But yeah, we will definitely be doing this again. Thanks so much for hanging out with us. Feel free to join us on Tuesday, Thursdays at 11 to 12 Eastern time here in the U.S. And we'd love to answer your questions and all that sort of good stuff. Senseless enjoyed the show, so we'll have him on here one of these days too. But in the meantime, take care of yourselves. Have a great weekend. It's already showing up here, so just one more day to go. My kids are done school here shortly, so that is going to be a change in my routine. But yeah, summer is here in the U.S., and so here we go. We'll change up the routine a little bit and make that happen. I plan to be here on Tuesday, though, and hopefully I'll bring some friends along as well and make it an interesting hour to hang out and chat, ask your questions, and get those answers for you. So let me know if you need anything. In the meantime, reach out to us at help@birddog.tv, and we can give you a hand there. And yeah, otherwise, have a great weekend, and we will talk to you soon. Take care of yourselves.